Have you guys ever studied for an exam during the exam? Let me just tell you, it won't work, and the final result is gonna suck. Now, on a completely unrelated note, my friends and I attended a game jam without any knowledge on Unity, pixel art, or GitHub. Here's how it went.
It's gone! It's all gone!
I hate myself!
I hate you with every single fiber of my being!
No!
Get out of here!
Okay, well, we just lost everything.
You have done nothing, Alex.
You're a cuck. I'm gonna kill you.
Wait, has OBS been running the entire time?
It's no secret that I like video games. One look at my YouTube channel on my depressing league hours, and you can already tell that I don't shower. Consequently, when my friends told me about a game jam called Xenojam, where I could make my own video game, I was all for it. First, let me set the background. None of us have any experience in making games. I mean, I do have a Scratch account with classics such as Watching Grass Grow, but we play video games all the time, so learning how to create one shouldn't be too hard. It was also a self-proclaimed beginner-friendly game jam, so making an entire video game from scratch with a time limit of 1 week sounded like a perfect place to start. Let me introduce the team. First, we have me. Since I'm the artist of such glorious artworks such as Talad Starburn, I was put in charge of visual effects. Next, we have Alex, our lead sound designer. He has ears, which made him qualified for the job. Finally, we have Andrew, the only person who was actually competent at coding. Yeah, that's right. This was the team to rival Bethesda.
Hello everybody, my name's Mark.
Now, the theme of this game jam was going up. After some ideating, we decided on a game where you would ascend an elevator fighting monsters along the way. The idea was that you were this little guy who had to go on a mission to resupply a factory on the surface of Sirius B, a dwarf star where they are mining for minerals. We kind of forgot that it was supposed to be a dwarf star, so everything just looks like normal Earth, but it made for a pretty cool title. Along the way, there are various fauna who do not like all the vibrations of capitalist excavation, so you're sent along with the lift to go up and protect it. I wanted to make the monsters look like deformed abominations because of the consequences of rampant industrialism, such as worms with metal shards jammed in them, or bats plagued with radiation. Now, I get what you're thinking. Dwarves, mining, capitalism? This is sounding like a pretty familiar game. Club Penguin, I think? Anyways, we came up with a theme and dedicated the rest of the day to setting up Unity and GitHub. Because of that, we didn't get anything done, but at least we had a somewhat clear idea of what we were making that everyone agreed on. Today we had everything up and running, so we started making some progress. Andrew started making the game, and because I hadn't finished making the main character, he had to use placeholders. That's how we got this masterpiece. Honestly, I think this game is actually better than the final result we had, so take that as you will. I was feeling pretty confident today. I mean, we had a somewhat playable game on our second day. Let's check out the Discord and see what other people have done. So, up until this point, we were all working on our own separate branches, which made it so that we can all work on different areas of the game at the same time, as long as no one merges. This morning, however, my branch of the code automatically merged with the master branch, which made a whole lot of compatibility errors which took Andrew the whole day to fix. I had to frantically explain that I didn't cause this error. Today I worked on some enemies that the player would face. I based most of my designs around semi-realistic animals and insects, and then I said screw it and made a rock lava goblin. This is actually my favorite design. For my first animation that wasn't just squirming around, I was pretty proud of it. I tried making the illusion that it was pulling itself across the screen, and I think it turned out pretty well. To make the animation, I started learning animation in Photoshop, and man was it annoying. If any of you are animators in Photoshop, I feel sorry for you. After that, my next job was to make a scrolling background, kind of like Flappy Bird, to create the illusion that the elevator is going up. Majority of the time, tricks like the scrolling background are used because moving the camera brings a whole new slew of problems. Now, I bet you're wondering, if you were me back in day 3 wondering how I can do this, how'll I do this? I mean, you have no coding experience. Control C, Control V. I am now a professional programmer. Now I'm truly a real programmer. Speaking of copy and paste, I accidentally uploaded some code that, uploaded a corrupted version of our files to GitHub, ruining all of our work, so... Whoops.
No! No! You...
What? Oh, that was the wrong one, eh? Now, to be fair, Andrew told me to.
Paste that into this.
I heard a Discord ping, so I go over and see this line of code that I then proceed to copy and paste. Turns out, he sent me the actual line of code in a direct message. The one I just copied would overwrite the commit on GitHub, and was one that he specifically told me.
Never ever put it into the command line.
When did he say that? Luckily, we managed to revert it to an older version, but our problems did not stop there. We decided that only one person can work on the project at a time, as having multiple people working on it usually resulted in code discrepancies. This severely crippled our pace, but it was vital so that we didn't have to spend hours fixing Unity bugs. We made a plan where one of us would plan their time on Unity before actually getting on, so that we would save as much time as possible. For example, when I wasn't on Unity, I made some animation sprite sheets and I planned out exactly what I was going to do with them on Unity when it was my turn. Also, it prevents stuff like a group member overwriting progress that someone else did. The branches also got kind of confusing with names such as Misery, Henry, and Oh God Please Why, so we decided to scrap that for now. This is also the day that I found out about LibreSprite, which is a pixel art program. Previously, I had been using Photoshop, which, while serviceable, was not designed for pixel art. LibreSprite was a lot better for the purposes of making animations and designs for a video game. However, with a new program comes the pain of learning it. I knew it would pay off in the long run though, and I started playing around with it, making designs and sprites, and after fumbling around for a couple of hours, I coded in a charge mechanic with the gun and its animation that our player would have. I spent this day designing the main screen, tutorial screen, game over screen, and the second level. Quite a packed day. For the main screen, I had several ideas that I manned through with my group. It boiled down to an animation of our little dwarf getting on the platform, or one where it was just the vast emptiness of space with the Sirius B looming menacingly. We decided to choose the latter, and I liked what I made. Since we were tight on time, I decided that the tutorial would have to be a still image. I had an idea that you were sort of on a computer terminal like on Fallout, and I think it turned out pretty well. I sorta neglected to mention the objective of the game and how to win and more importantly how to lose, but oh well, trial by fire. For the game over, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I was quickly losing steam and creativity. So you know what that means? Yeah, even I'm not proud of this one. We were running dangerously close to the deadline with only one level, out of our plan 3. So I had to rush the game over so I could quickly get to designing the second level, which, surprise surprise, is still an elevator, now featuring extra platforms. We wanted to spend the last day reviewing everything, so I also designed level 3. We decided on a boss fight for the last level, so meet Henry the Godslayer. Remember when our game was about the Dwarf Star and mining? Anyways, he kinda just sits there shooting crystal shards at you. Remember when I said I was burnt out? So, we spent the day polishing the game, adjusting game values, doing things to make the game feel good, because we kind of neglected the whole game part of the game. I also animated our ending with the jankiest animations I've ever seen in my life. Anyways, there were around 2 hours left and another group member was working on the game. Since I couldn't work on Unity, I started building the game, which basically meant that I was going to test our final project. I booted it up and... Andrew, I think we have a problem. So the main function of our game was not working. We then proceeded to spend the next hour and a half trying to fix the single line of code that wasn't working, which culminated in us having to delete the entire line of code. The code was responsible for making the generator have collision with the bullet, so it wasn't too important. However, it did make our game 10 times harder. But who cares, we have about 10 minutes left to build and upload the game. Unfortunately, Andrew, with his Neolithic computer, couldn't get the thing to build. So I tried building with 5 minutes left. Keep in mind that we still have to upload the game to the actual website. We haven't even made the game yet. Obviously I was stressed out, but there's not much I can do to a loading bar to make it speed up. Go! Anyways, I finally got it done and we actually had some time left. I uploaded the file and... it didn't work! At this point I was in full panic mode. So I somehow missed the very obvious line that said the file had to be a zip file, not a RAR file, so we ended up missing the deadline. However, after some groveling from one of our group members, we were actually able to submit it. So we sent our game in and we were optimistic. A week later we got the results and we got 118th place. Out of 170 submissions. Obviously we were disappointed, but honestly we weren't too mad. Except for Alex, who went on a 7-hour rant about how we should have won. I think next time, if there is a next time, we should work on having a smaller scope. 3 levels for a game made in a week was an ambitious goal, and while we did achieve it, we definitely sacrificed quality for quantity. Also, only 3 people reviewed our game, so I think we should have interacted with the community a bit more to spread our game around more. I also gained something pretty valuable myself. Before making our game, I was one of those people who always complained about video games, constantly saying they should have done this or they could have done that. But after going through the rigorous process of making a game and pouring a lot of effort into it, I realized that it's so much easier said than done. It made me realize that nobody, usually, wants their game to be bad. They pour all of their love and passion into their games, and it's really disheartening to see it being trampled on. It made me appreciate the works of others a lot more, and I feel like I became a more positive and optimistic person. As a group, we learned a lot from this experience. We bonded as a team, and I don't regret it at all. But there's no excuse to us losing the game jam to a game that was downhill with the theme being going up. And the worst part? This game sucks!